Good morning and welcome back to the podcast, Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. I'm your host, Evil Dungeon Master Vince. It is Monday and it's time for a new podcast, and we are back after a long weekend. Short weekend. It's always short. No matter how many days you have off, it's always short, regardless of when your weekend is. If it's a traditional weekend or somewhere during the week, it's just never enough time off. We need shorter weeks, right, folks? We did play our game this weekend of Starfinder. It went pretty well. It was a learning process. We have it down. We're going to have it edited and up on rollhigherdie.com for audio, and it'll feed into all the RSS feeds out there to be available on Apple and Spotify and everything like that. And then it'll hit over to YouTube after the feed hits the YouTube. So expect that sometime this week so you can hear that. It was a pretty interesting adventure that I came up with them flying to a space station to recover an artifact and figure out what happened to the scientific crew when they were there. So they encountered some giant monster so far, and one person had gone down because they decided to do melee combat when they are a ranged type built healer. So he went down and almost died. I felt bad about that, but them's the breaks. Things happen. Can't. I have actually rolled a natural 20 on one of the attacks, and it knocked him down. He should have backed up, but it's here nor there. So today I was looking around and looking for a topic to talk about, and a vampire hunter game came to mind. I've always enjoyed supernatural games and playing supernatural games and things like Supernatural or Vampire Slayer games like Buffy or Angel or even Call of Cthulhu, for that matter. You can probably hunt vampires in there. Cortex System, Unisystem, Savage Worlds all cover these things, but and probably a World of Darkness game, Hunters as well, would probably do it, though the later Hunter versions made the Hunters pretty dumb. I like the original Hunters and Hunter the Reckoning compared to what we have now. But Vampire Hunter games can be fun because, and I don't know how long a Vampire Hunter campaign would last before it gets a little dull. So that's the reason why Supernatural would probably be the natural thing to play for this, because you're not just hunting vampires. Now, yeah, you could probably go out there, set up a nest of vampires, and you have to go out and figure out what the nest is and kill the vampires and figure out where the main or head vampire is and then try to destroy him or eliminate him from the world. And you could probably drag it out a little bit by doing maybe some conspiracies with where the vampires are and who the vampires taken over in town, maybe with people hiding in plain sight as vampires. They're just not out in the daylight. Or if your vampires are okay in the daylight, maybe they'd have minimal daylight exposure somehow or some way. It would probably be a pretty decent campaign if you could figure it out, and it would probably be fun in D&D, to be honest, hunting vampires. But I don't foresee it going way too long as far as a campaign's concerned, because I think the players would get a little bit bored after a while of just hunting the same thing over and over again. I don't know. You have to tell me in your comments on YouTube, or you can go to my website, theevildm.com. I did do some adjusting on the website with some people to fix the comment section and the email section after one of my followers had told me about some errors they were having when they try to leave comments. So I appreciate that. I don't know if they want their name mentioned or not, but I appreciate the email about that. You can always email ask the DM at theevildm.com directly, or go to my website in the contact form, which works. I've tested it a bunch of times this morning. And you can leave a comment. It'll probably put it into the queue because all comments are subjected to approval just in case, because I don't want spam on the website. But check it out. Anyway, the vampires, I think, can go from different levels. And you have like the feral vampires that like hide in the dark and try to attack you when you're not looking. And then you can have like the fancier vampires, the more sophisticated ones that look like they could be humans and go around town posing as humans, just only to, when they start to get hungry, it's time to munch on somebody. And there could be clues that you have to investigate. And mean, it would be a fun adventure for 4, 5, maybe even 6 adventures. But once you kill the main vampire and you get that done, or the head vampire and you kill him, I think that kind of pulls the whole thing down. It's just like, all right, we did it. We defeated the vampires. There's no more vampires. We'll just say one gets away, becomes a new head vampire. It's just like, do you really want to have to play this all over again? I don't know how I'd feel. So I'm sitting here thinking about it. I mean, I like the idea of it. I like the idea of the hunting the supernatural down, killing them, eliminating them, like on Supernatural TV show. But they did various things, not just one thing. Though I know they said multiple times that they hunted vampires quite a bit, and I know Dean was happy with that on the show, and he mentioned how he liked hunting vampires. So, and they didn't show them doing it; they only mentioned it. And I think one of the recap episodes towards the end did show a montage of him out on his own, destroying and killing vampires nonstop for quite some time to get some anger out. But that's really, it was just a quick 30-second montage thing. When I did the research looking for other games that might give me some inspiration, Knight's Black Agents keeps popping up constantly in recommendation, and that's part of the Gumshoe system uh, by Robin Laws, I believe it is, who kind of invented that system. And this goes through a whole. It's a 2 silver Emmy award winning game for best writing and nominated for best rules, best interior art, and wow, product of the year. Puts you in the role of a deadly secret agent taking down the forces of darkness. Bring your high octane spy thrillers to the table with Night Black's agent from the legendary designer Kenneth Haidt, who did Trail of Cthulhu, which I do have Trail of Cthulhu on my shelf. I nabbed a whole bunch of books that were Cthulhu based when I was looking for some of them a while back. And it uses the Gumshoe system, which is a D6 system, and you add a level to it of your skill or whatever you're doing. But the one thing that was interesting about this Gumshoe system is that when you do go investigate, you will get the clues and stuff you need to move forward. So there's none of this stymieing thing by the GM, and you will get what you need from the scene. You may not get everything you need, but you will get the information you need to move forward. And I like the time period as well for this game, so it's something to look into. It's a very, very easy system, and all you need is a simple D6 to even play it. And it's more investigative and everything because it's horror, Call of Cthulhu horror investigating scenes and everything. You could probably play a detective noir game with it, or maybe a cops and robbers type game with it. It's mostly investigation though. But I keep getting the Knights Black Agents constantly being thrown out there, so it has to be something worth looking at. I may pick up a book of it in the future. If anybody is familiar with the game out there that's listening, go ahead and put some comments on Spotify because there's now comments on Spotify for each episode, as long as you have a Spotify app, and it only takes like a second to sign up and follow the podcast on Spotify and rate the podcast on Spotify, G-pop. Go ahead and do that and leave a comment, or you can just go to YouTube, and if you have a YouTube account, you can just leave a comment, or you could try the website, theevildm.com, when I post up this episode, and tell me what you think. So I'm interested to know about this Knights Black Agents, because it looks really interesting based on what I'm reading. And as I get more into like solo and co-op play, and I would say easier rules, I noticed as we get older, we don't really want to deal with a lot of rules. At least I don't. And I just want to play a game and tell a story. I don't want to pass the stick story. Tell me that's not something I want to do. I want to be able to play a game where I could just tell a story, roll some dice, to get some randomness in there, have some fun, and move forward, and not sit there going, That's probably why I like cinematic unisystem so much. And yeah, I keep talking about that system a lot on this channel and on this podcast. It's because I really like the system because it's so simple, and the system is a back afterthought in your mind, so you could just tell the story, get the players involved, and it's a lot of fun. And you can always add to it by going through the classic system and just pushing things into it to make it a little more crunchy if you don't like how, I guess, cinematic and fast it is. So it's a very interchangeable, interlockable system, I guess you can call it. And there's tons of material supporting everything to play. So, like I said, as I get a little older and playing games, I want less rules to worry about. Like we played Starfinder this weekend. While it was very rules heavy, like there was a lot of rules for Starfinder, of course, because it's based off of Pathfinder, which was based off of 3.5 D&D, which was very heavy on the crunch and the rules. So there was always a rule for something or other. And while I was used to that, it took me a couple seconds while running that game to get back into that mode of how the rules worked for D20. Because I was used to playing Palladium, which is pretty simple. I was Unisystem, DC Heroes, things like that. And those are a little bit less crunchy compared to Starfinder or Pathfinder. I don't know. But I'm going to look into this other game, Knights Black Agents, because I think it'd be a fun game to at least read, for that matter. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and we'll get to another podcast tomorrow. We got this week coming up Random Rolls Chat live stream on Wednesday at 5-ish p.m. Central Time. Join us there and have some fun as we just talk about random topics, just completely random. We don't even know what we're talking about until we start the podcast because I have some topics written down. I roll a die, and that's what we talk about to start things off, and we see where the conversation drifts. People in the chat can add to the conversation, and we may discuss those things. It's just all random. That's why we call it Random Rolls Chat. If you're a member of my YouTube channel for 99 cents a month, you get access to also videos ahead of time and the fireside chat on Friday where we talk about what we're going to do going forward with the channel and the polls we put out. We get your feedback and how you want to see things. We also chat about things you want to chat about as a member. So it's your chance to just have a kind of like a one-on-one conversation with us, members only. And then it stays that way forever. So if more members sign up in the future, they can at least watch the backlog of the members only stuff. I'm going to head out. Keep it original. Keep it old school. Good night. God bless. Remember, there's no clickbait, no drama, only gaming on this channel. Good night, everybody.